Okay, I'm Uwe Ahrens. I'm the managing director of Altech Advanced Materials AG and all the related companies. I presented to you a few times. We have two legs in Altech. One is the coating material for special anode material for the mobility market, which I presented in February to you. And today I want to talk especially about our solid state battery for the grid market. Before I start, I like to pose a question to you. What's the future? What's the future in batteries? And if you look at the standard lithium-ion battery as a reference, it has a cathode with many materials. Then you have active liquid electrolyte, which is flammable, and a plastic or composite separator. And where does everybody want to go to? They want to go to a solid state type battery because then the battery wouldn't burn anymore, has more density, can go further. And this solid state electrolyte is a ceramic. This is exactly what we're doing. And as I mentioned before, lithium-ion batteries, there is no 100% safe battery. There are production, there is aging, there is dendrites, there is many things that can burn, and there are great concern, not only there. So if we summarize, the lithium-ion battery has a safety issue. We can have an explosion. We can have overheating, physical damage. You can see it on the phone once it's 3 years or older. You know, it gets hot when charging. And the fire is impossible to put out because the cathode produces oxygen. So it's in itself, it's a flammable composite. So it's very difficult. What people don't know is lithium-ion batteries are sensitive to environmental temperature. It works well like a child between 15 to 35 degrees. So if it's very cool, you have to heat, you lose a lot. But if you have, like in a solar plant in Californian desert, you need to cool the battery a lot. And even up to 50% of the power is lost. Then the lithium ion battery degrades through life. So after 5, 6 years, only has 70%. And because of the very intense charging of your handphone, you will see a reasonable degradation already after the second year. Um, well, there is a competition. Lithium prices are high. If we look at the moment, the price has come down because the battery has a slight bump. But overall, the lithium is a risk, and especially for European industries. More so, cobalt as the active material of high-performance battery. Cobalt comes from the Congo, so there are many critical issues. But even more so, really critical is that the graphite, which is important for the anode, comes from China, 90%. Best example now is Northvolt. Northvolt is trying to produce the batteries. They have changed the graphite and they have a very large yield loss with all the problems attached to it. Also, copper. If you look at the various models, copper, I'm sure you all invested in copper because the price is going up. There's a crunch. If we need not only all the copper for the batteries, but the cabling and the grid, and copper is a crunch. So my question to you, is there a battery that can be produced which doesn't burn, is fireproof, can take a large temperature range, lives longer than 15 years, and does not require lithium, cobalt, or graphite, or copper, or manganese? And I'm introducing to you Serenity. This is our product. It's solid state sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is table salt. So there's simple table salt inside, very simple ingredients. It's a high temperature battery. It's in itself. This battery technology is available since the 90s, and Fraunhofer in the last 5 years has adapted that, and we are now putting it into industrial production. This battery has no electrolyte, so it cannot burn. You can throw it into fire, you can put it anywhere. It's a significant advantage for public areas, data centers, and any other places where thermal runaway is a real risk. So it's absolutely fireproof. It works in any temperature and does not need cooling or heating. You put this battery, as you can see behind me, this is a 1 megawatt container. You put it somewhere, it works, you leave it. You don't have to do anything. It has an ultra long lifespan, as I will shortly show you. I don't have an anode. The anode builds itself every time, so I have no degradation. I use simple common salt. I can build the battery anywhere in the world with local materials. I don't need to do anything. I don't need cobalt. I don't need graphite, which is a critical item, as I just explained, and I don't need any copper. So this is a very innovative technology made in Germany and now being to production by us. You can see here, the yellow one is this ceramic cylinder that the gentleman is holding his hand. We put a nickel cathode electrode inside and then fill it up with active material, which is a mixture of table salt and other ingredients. And that is practically it. You then put it into a metal container, and inside the metal container, you can see later is you charge the material, then the sodium ions go on the other side of the ceramic as shown here and form the anode. So there is no connectivity issue. There is no solid electrolyte degradation, internal resistance. The sodium ions go through. When you discharge, the sodium ion go back and perform table salt already. These battery cells are being built like 6-7 years now. And since November last year, we are building the final prototype as it's being produced in the future in the proposed plant. It's a very straightforward process. The batteries are with long lines, thousands of cycles, resistant numbers are available for our clients to check what is the battery capable of and doing. And what is the capable of is it is really equal to LFP batteries or better and redox flow and other applications because it is performing in all areas, but you don't need maintenance and you don't have any other costs associated to it. That's why the total cost are very low. Levelized cost of storage are half of any battery known today. So this is our finally product. You have a grid pack, 1 megawatt. It's a 20-foot standard container. You put it on one another and it goes. Now, what is the business case? We all know energy transition cannot happen. So whatever it is, Elon Musk said last year, 2 years ago, he's going to make more money with battery. And true so, in the last quarter, Tesla made more money with grid storage than with the cars. Or Bloomberg, you can see the market is growing exponentially because this is the market they have to do. And there is a money case. I was at Bloomberg Summit last week, and everybody is looking at the margins to be made with batteries, and they're ever increasing. What is the application? The application is that there are two challenges in energy transition. One is solar and wind power is produced at one time, and the consumption has to be in another time. So you have to bridge this gap. This bridging happens with batteries. So during the time that the sun's shining and the wind's blowing, you charge it, and then you can put it later into grip and do the arbitration, the margin. But more so is like in Germany, you have the north wind is producing wind power, but it's required in Munich. Can you get it there? No. And why can't you get it there? Because the grid is already full. If you have this graph, everybody can download from the Bundesnetzagentur. You can see redispatch. Redispatch means renewable energy produced but thrown away. In 21, it was 2.2 billion. Last year, it was 4.1 billion. So Germany, the German government is throwing away 350 million euro every month for renewable energy that they have to pay for but cannot use. It's pretty bad, right? And it's going to grow. For arbitrage, you can see left, this is the general Eurostock arbitrage of power. You can see from -3, -4, up go to 70 cents. That's a huge margin. But in other parts of the world, I was in May, I was in North South Wales presenting at RRU. In North South Wales, you can see this is the actual stock at high peak in the evening. The grid company has to buy 1 kilowatt hour for $15 Aussie. It's ridiculous. Of course, it's not sustainable, but because power is tight, this is what people make. So you and I had a battery, we make huge money. So we are ready to commercialize. This battery is being produced. We have a pilot plant in Arnstadt. Everything is being produced. And if you see our announcement, we have made the industrial prototype, which is now cycling in Dresden. So everything is ready. Everything is there. There is no storytelling. The battery is ready. And we are going into our first industrial production line in Saxony. We have purchased, as I presented before, 14 hectares of industrial land in Schwarze Pumpe, which is really the center. We have all the infrastructure. We have the electricity, the renewable energy. We have everything. And this is the real plant. The design is absolutely finished. We are now in the funding stage. I come to that right away. We have 42 subcontractors, the who and who of the industry. So if it's Tesla in Brandenburg, or if it's Northvolt, or if it's Volkswagen or BMW, they all use the same guys. And this is the plant. It's ready. The inside I can't show you. That's of course confidential. And this is the first. We have made all approvals. We are ready to go. This is the plant layout, and this is the first. This is the first product. It's a 60 kilowatt hour battery pack. So this battery pack has been produced and is running in Dresden, and we are collecting all the data. Of course, our first product that we're selling will be the grid pack. We don't have enough capacity. We only have 120 of these grid packs in the first line to sell per year, and we are now signing the offtake agreements, of which one we have already signed. This is the big picture that is running in the back. We have all this incredible USP, no fire, no aging, no maintenance, and you can stack it like an industrial plant. Like hydrogen, you can't store hydrogen energy and have a lithium-ion battery. It's much too dangerous, but our battery can be there in a steel plant, in a shopping mall, in a hospital, everywhere. So our feasibility study was issued end of March. We require about 156 million euro for the construction of the plant. Of course, battery manufacturing is scale sensitive. So we have a big plan to go on, but we have to prove to the market and to the investors and the capital markets first that this plant is really running. That's why we have a first small line, and this is what we're doing. We have incredibly good IRR, even for this small project. We have an NPV of 168 million euro and an IRR of 20%. Of course, some people would like to have more, but this is the first line, and our cost regression is phenomenal. I mean, the cost will be half on the first gigafactory and then half on the next gigafactory. So we're really getting there. But the EBITDA margin is 47%, and our costs are decreasing through time. So it's a very profitable project. And we have now appointed KPMG to do the funding. The funding is about 220 million. As I mentioned, 156 million is the bare construction. We need working capital, and then of course the cost of finance during constructions, total anything between 200 220 million. We have available equity in the range of 60 million of pre-commitments. We are applying for grants, which are still sort of up in the air, but we applied, so we will wait until end of the year. We have an application for an EIB venture capital loan and other commercial credit. For the verification of our technical due diligence, we have appointed DNV. For people who are familiar with the industry, this is the #1 certifying in terms of battery, Freyr, Northvolt, all use this company. This is our plant. Why is it so detailed? Is because we want to have everything ready. We don't want to take any risks. We really have every machine, every component ready. Every machine that we are using has been pre-tested, so I'm very confident that our startup will be not as difficult as sometimes it is. Two reasons: because our solid-state battery is not as sensitive in production as a lithium-ion battery, and we are using all equipment and materials that are available in the market and are not prototypes in any which way or. So this is our main plant, and I hope it was not too fast. And I really like to open the board for questions, and like to hear your opinion. And I'd like you to join us in this race. Maybe one last thing I would like to mention is that we have bought 14 hectares, but we made an application for 60 hectares, and that 60 hectare is for 4 gigawatt factory, which we are now in the progress of planning. This is the story of the grid battery, and that is gonna make a big impact in Europe first.
Yes, thank you very much. So far, there are no questions in the chat, so The viewers are welcome to post any questions in the chat or in the Q&A function. So from my side, can you elaborate on the strategic partnerships you have formed with battery projects?
Yeah, we are in the process. We have signed the first offtake agreement for 30 grid packs. So it's 30% of our first production. We have signed with the association of the industrial park in Schwarze Pumpe. Schwarze Pumpe is an industrial park mainly focused originally on coal-fired power production. So there is a tremendous change into green energy. There is a reference production for hydrogen and many other high-tech companies. So they are planning to change into complete renewable by 2038 or even earlier, maybe by 2036. So for that, they have a huge effort in terms of renewable energy as well as battery. And that's why they are signed an offtake agreement with us. We are, of course, in negotiations with many more offtake parties, which I cannot disclose at the moment until they're signed. But of course, we have key focus. Key focus means if you buy our battery, there must be an advantage. And the advantage is in terms of longevity, in terms of having been, I mean, you buy a lithium ion battery, you get guarantee for one cycle a day. You buy a Tesla Megapack 2, you get your guarantee if you have one cycle a day. Our battery, you can cycle as many times as you want. We probably can manage 3 full cycles a day. But you may have many small charges to stable the grid or whatever. So we can have 10 different events in the same day, and our battery doesn't change. It doesn't age. It doesn't lose capacity. It's not in danger of overheating or any other negative impact. So these are applications where our battery is most beneficial, and therefore like city councils, close proximity, public charging. This is where our battery will have a big impact. Second is that there are locations which are super sensitive to safety. One being hospitals, shopping malls, hotels. That's one. And the third one, which is a really large one, is data centers. You know that not only for AI, but all different types of data center, how the information age is developing, you need huge capability. And the data center is anyway starting from 10 billion euro onwards, and they need uninterrupted power supply, of which they certainly would like to have a battery like ours that doesn't burn and doesn't pose any risk and doesn't consume power to be constantly managed to be in the right temperature range. If you surf the internet, about 3 weeks ago, there was a big battery fire in a data center in Singapore. The battery was destroyed. It was 400,000, but the damages were 1.2 billion US dollars just because of timing, damage, and so it's a huge risk. So these are the areas that we're looking for, and we are also in the stage of developing like combined energy islands. Energy islands means that energy provider, anybody, E.ON, RW, whatever, they will install not centralized, but this is small on location energy islands. Energy islands will then consist of wind farm connection, of solar farm connection, and energy storage. And it's about, let's say, 80% is wind, 20% is solar, and then you need another 30% in batteries. So these are the markets that we're looking for.
Okay. And now the questions are pouring in the chat. So will you also sell to B2C?
Yeah, we will in the future, but not with the first line, because the first line I just don't have enough capacity to produce. I want to have a few clients, 2, 3, maximum 4 or so, sell my annual production, then immediately go into the gigafactory development, which then will not be an issue because then I don't need private equity or anything. I can just borrow the money. And then I will start selling to industry and to consumer.
And can you talk about the recent capital increase? What was the reason to do it at 240 and what were the funds used for?
Yeah, this is like the certain professor. First of all, is the funds are used for working capital. We are, of course, the Altech batteries is owned 25% by the German entity and 75 by the Australian. So both public companies went through a raise. Australia raised about 8.3 million Aussie dollar. Here in Germany, we plan anything between 1.5 to maybe 3, depending, just to make sure we have enough funds to last well into the next year, to have our financial close. We don't have high running costs and expenses. We had, of course, high costs to plan the factory and to do tests and build prototypes and pay for all engineering stuff. But now, as we are working on financial close, we won't have so much running costs, and that was the capital increase for. Why was it 240? Well, that was the advisory from the capital market. As you know, battery stocks have been hammered. It doesn't matter if QuantumScape lost 90%, Freya lost 75%, Northvolt also almost 80%. It's just from the perception here, a difficult market, because the pickup in the mobility market has a little bit dip and was slower than expected. But it will all come back. I mean, the grid storage market anyway is flying. So we wanted to go into the market to make it attractive. And anyway, the benefit is to the existing shareholder. It's a rights issue, so you take it up. I'm sure it's a good investment. Our share price was already 15. It was maybe a little bit overpriced because the excitement there, and people don't have the think everything goes faster. So I think it was a good idea to do it. And then after that, we will not most likely have to do any more capital raise because then we will be financed, and we will make this decision. We're waiting for the confirmations or non-confirmations of the various types of instruments from the state, from the federal government, and from the European Union. So we will know what we get or don't get. We will not go out like we had other companies that were very confident of getting 200, 300 million, and then last minute it falls out. So we're not going to do that. We are optimistic we'll get it, but we will let you know when we have it, not before.
Okay. And what is the current production cost for 1 kilowatt-hour battery, and how does this compare to your sales price?
Now, yeah, you see, we have a margin of almost 50%. So in total, you have we will be selling the battery 1 megawatt for 800,000 euro, and then so we have total production cost of 400, which is not indicative of the actual cost of the battery cell. For example, you can imagine our raw materials that we need is only 53 euro, and so that's why it's scale intensive. Now I spend more money on surrounding things, air cleaning, buildings, offices, than the actual production. So the question is probably in regards, are we competitive? Yes, we are now for special clients that want our product because of these things. And when we build the gigafactory, then we will meet any price digression of any LFP battery or whatever. There will be not an issue. Just think about it. I have to buy salt, quartz, and a little bit of nickel. The other guys, they have to buy graphite from China. They have to get lithium from Argentina. They have to get cobalt from the Congo. It's all highly processed. I cannot imagine, I cannot meet this price. Anyway, we have good plans, and let me surprise you.
Can you elaborate on your experience working with the automotive industry? particularly regarding their plans for the EV market? And have you received feedback from battery manufacturers on the performance of your Silumina anodes?
Yeah, we are deviating a little bit from this present presentation of the grid battery, but um, we have not had the feedback except for the interest. We sign up with almost all majors because we have to produce a lot more material for them to test and give a comment. So preliminary, it's nice. And that's why we built the pilot plant in Saxony, which is now in operation. And once a stable production comes out, we will give it to the manufacturers. Now, in general, to the next question, the car manufacturers and the EV. I do not know any high-level manager or CEO in the car industry who is not absolutely convinced that we will be driving electric cars. Of course, now with the price going down, resale value has gone down further. It's not really attractive. There are a lot of challenges to keep it up. But in the long run, there is no better car. There is no easier car. There is no coupling. There is no oil change. There is no spark plugs. There is no air filter. There is no muffler. I mean, it's like it's just the better and cheaper car. Just give it a little bit of time. You and I, we don't like to be given directions, right? No, we don't like to be told what to do. So instead of all these rules and regulations where people in Berlin think they're so smart, just let it take itself and it will all happen. It will be like a Kodak moment where the switch just is changed and we will be driving these cars and it will be just very easy. And distance won't be an issue for sure.
And what opportunities do you see for expanding your grid storage solution globally?
Yeah, that is very attractive. I don't know if I've done some interviews. We already have offers from America and from Canada to go and build a plant there. But we don't want to take up these offers because we want to come from a position of strength. And that will only happen once we have built this plant, first plant in Germany, put a stamp on it, made in Germany. Then we will go internationally. We will go to either Canada or US first, but then right after this, and then only in the third stage, we will go to Asia.
Uh, could you provide an overview of your current shareholder structure?
Well, I mean, we're publicly listed. We have only two major shareholder. One is us, and the other one is a German shareholder situated out of Heidelberg, the Balaton Group. Otherwise, we have about 8,000 shareholders in Australia, and we have about 1,005 public spread in Germany. So we are pretty well diversified. Of course, for the German public listed company, the major shareholder still owns more than around 62%. So that's still something that where we have room, but we will see how we will manage this and how it will go and how the financing will work out for the first plant.
Okay. So the time is already up. Thank you very much. Very interesting. Lots of opportunity on the horizon.
Thank you. We are there. Please visit our website, call us, and follow us. It's an exciting time. Thank you so much for letting me talk on your forum.